So Fringe season 3, I will say it is probably the best show on television. Love the show. Obsessed with it. So
Me too.
this is fantastic. This is going to work
have a
out
lot
well. Fantastic. But I have to say, it's going to be a little interesting to see season 3 because Peter's not going to be in it so much.
This is true. Some hot, some not. So I will only be there about half the time, but the upside is that the very cool show that we had just became awesome.
Yeah.
Because I think the alternate universe thing is such a kick-ass idea. I mean, it's so ballsy, frankly, of our writers, and I got to give all credit to them. And you get, I mean, there'll be enough of, you have everybody else, so it's not like it'll feel like a completely different show, and you have our Olivia over there, which I think will help. And you know, I think season 2 was a lot about learning, you know, not so much who Peter is now, but who Peter was and what his whole backstory was. But I think season 3 is the Olivia season. I mean, this is where we're really going to get into, it seems like, I mean, I don't know because they keep us a little bit in the dark too. But by introducing both of these Olivias, we're going to really peel back the onion on who this woman is and sort of spend this season exploring that character really intensely, I think. Until, again, I'm wrong tomorrow. Because I say these things and they come out in interviews and then the next script comes in, I'm like, ooh, that's embarrassing.
Well, you were right when you said it at the time, so that's got to count for something. A little bit.
I don't know. That's like, you know, in 2007 saying the housing bubble will never burst. Well, I was right at the time.
Yeah, that is true.
There are weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. Well, I was right at the time.
See, if you make that face while you do it, they'll forgive you for anything.
Is that right?
Yeah, totally.
Oh. That's George Bush. He should have learned. Well, I was right at the time.
It seems like from what I was hearing from John that you will still have a little bit of a presence in those episodes where you're not there because like Olivia will be hearing your voice. Is that true?
Yeah, I think, I'm not sure how they're going to do it. I mean, I'm still employed, hopefully, after this interview by Warner Brothers Television on the wonderful show Fringe. So I will be here, but the focus of this show this year, you know, when we come into this universe, for Peter himself, not the show, the focus is going to be figuring out what this machine is and what that device means to him or for him or why it is that he's connected. But for the show in general, I think this season is really about focusing on the Olivia character and really delving into who she is psychologically, I guess, because you're getting a chance, obviously, to see this split down the middle, these two versions of the same woman. And I think the best thing that we could achieve this year, if we can do it, is to make both sets of characters equal. Make us, you know, make me as the audience member care as much about the other Olivia as I do about the original Olivia. Make the audience care about the Fringe team on the other side just as much as you care about the Fringe team on this side. And this is going to be the hardest one. Make Walternate, who's a bit of a hard ass, if not as likable, but as understandable. Right now he's sort of painted as a bad guy, but I think he has actually good reasons for doing what he's done. So if we can get to that place where when the inevitable conflict between the two sides happens, that you will feel conflicted, like, well, I don't know who I actually want to win this fight, because I totally understand where they're coming from, and I totally understand where they're coming from. That, to me, would be an incredible coup of storytelling. I think that would be amazing.
I mean, I would say, I think some fans would at least sympathize with Walternate because, I mean, he did have his son stolen from him. That's a pretty good reason to be as angry and bitter and mean as he is.
And the repercussions of it were the destruction of entire cities.
Right.
Because of the crop deaths, you've got to imagine like mass starvation.
Right.
So we did something, not me, I didn't do it. Walter did it. I take no responsibility for this. But his actions caused major harm and damage.
Right.
So the other side, even though so far, because we've only just gotten to know them, they seem, you know, it seems like they're being the aggressors. They've actually been defending themselves. And so I think that there's a really legitimate reason why Walternate would be a hard man. He had his son stolen from him. He had his world invaded. He had the life that he had built for himself completely torn into shreds. And I think if we can get to the place where the audience is conflicted. I mean, our Walter is such a wonderful character. I don't know that you'll ever be able to recreate that with the Walternate, but if we can at least get in his head a little bit and understand why he is the way he is and make it seem reasonable, then I think the show just achieves a whole other layer of storytelling. Then it's really complex and dynamic, and you have these, you have real gray areas instead of just painting in black and white, which is we're good, they're bad, so we got to get them.